You just heard my cat. Yep, heavy breathing. So, I hope you're doing well tonight or today, whatever you are watching this lovely bouquet and these two lovely kitties, and obviously my lovely candle. So today we're gonna carry on with those ghost story that I was reading last 2 days, wasn't it? We've done 6 chapters, and today we're gonna do chapter 7. Like last time, I wanna do, I think, 1 chapter whispering and 2 more chapters, or maybe more, it depends on how we feel tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna do soft talking. Again, I would really appreciate if you let me know which style you rather prefer, whispering or soft reading. Please like and subscribe if you find this style of mine, my video and my lovely arrangement, comforting for you. I would really appreciate it, as well as your comments. Thank you, and let's begin. So, chapter 7. Marie wasn't even ashamed of the scream. She was too worried about her heart potentially jumping right out of her throat, getting in the car, and leaving the rest of her body behind as it peeled out of the driveway. For the split second in which she thought she was going to die, she was glad it was going to be here in front of her aunt's house. It seemed oddly fitting. She accepted it in that second, assuming something had come out from under the house to take her life. But exactly what? An enormous bat, a huge snake beast, some strange monster that had been sharing the spooky old manor with Aunt June for years and years. There he goes. There he goes. Hello, baby. You're touching my camera, sweetie. Yeah, he wants to play. I gotta read, sweetheart. I gotta read. Thank you. Here you go. Steady the camera a little bit. Okay. So, when it was clear her throat was not going to be torn out, and then the weight on top of her was not all that much, Marie opened her eyes. She was met with a wet nose and even wetter tongue right across the forehead. It was in fact a dog. Its head was cocked, looking at her expectantly. It was then, seeing how innocent the dog was, that Marie started to feel sort of embarrassed. The dog got off of her, allowing her to sit up. When she got to her feet, wiping the dust and grime from her butt, the dog took one step towards her. Its tongue lolled out as it leaned closer to her, sniffing the air. This dog was nothing close to the specimens she dealt with at Bumpet Paws. She supposed most people would rather refer to it as a mutt. She could see characteristics of a few breeds right away. The black coat of a Labrador, as well as the large, wide paws. She saw some pickle in the dog's facial features, though there were a few other thrown in there as well. directly on the head. She checked his name tag and found it read Boo, as in P-W, Boo. Fitting, she thought. She turned the tag over. The laugh that escaped her was so unexpected she nearly frightened herself. The tag, it shows, for Marie, surprise. Marie said, looking skyward, "Well, you got me. Good one, Aunt June." The dog looked around and the name, maybe trying to figure out where his true owner had gone off to. "Ouch, sorry, bro. June is not coming back." Of course, she did not think he understood this, but his tail dropped a bit and he looked away from her. She cringed, wondering if he had been inside when June had passed away. Had he seen her in her chair, unmoving for a day or two? "Such a good boy," she said, rubbing his head. "You get left behind with the house." The dog panted in response. He was starting to look a little excited, tail wagging and feet pacing. "Is your name Boo?" More wagging of the tail, and now he seemed to dance a bit, prancing in front of her. He wasn't as spry as a puppy, but wasn't immobile or lethargic like an older dog. She guessed him to be about 5 or 7 years of age. Boo was looking back at the house and then to Marie. "You an inside dog, aren't you?" she asked. She started for the porch stairs, wondering if she had somehow overlooked a dog food dish somewhere inside. But before she could make it back to the steps, she heard a car pulling into the driveway. She looked down the drive and saw an Escalade pulling up. The dog fell in beside her and watched the vehicle expectantly. The Escalade parked beside Marie's car and a woman stepped out right away. She looked to be roughly Marie's age, and the first word that came to Marie's mind was parakeet. She hated to think anything cruel about someone on a first impression, but there was just something about this woman's face that reminded Marie of a parakeet. Maybe it was the way her nose seemed a little long and pointed, or the way her short cut hair sort of curled sharply at the back. Marie had to stifle back a little laugh as the woman introduced herself. "Hey there, my name is Stacy Hamlet. I hate to be so forward, but I just spoke with your great aunt's attorney, and he told me you would be here." "Okay, and you are?" "I'm a real estate agent with Coastal Gems, and I know you just come from the wake. And it may seem very rude of me to approach you so soon, but I have to tell you, this house is going to be a very hot commodity. The sooner you act, the sooner you profit." "Yes, I might see it as rude," Marie agreed curtly. "I can come back later today if you like," Stacy said, though it was clear she did not like the idea. "I can understand wanting to get a feel for the place. Were you ever close to it?" "As a young girl, yes. It's been sort of a lighthouse for me over the years." "Ah, I see," Stacy said in a tone that suggested she did not see at all. She dug into the inner pocket of her jacket and handed Marie a business card. "If, for some reason, we can't connect again today, please call me when agent's mouth made her heart shudder. When you're ready to sell. And what if I decide not to sell? The question was out of her mouth before their brain could even register it. But with the thought of it spoken and in the air, even in front of another person, it caused a little stirring of excitement. It was clear Stacey Hamlet had not expected this. She fumbled for what to say next and settled on, so you'd be interested in moving in? Well, maybe. For some reason, Stacey was starting to remind Marie of Deandra. Let me just remind you, Deandra was her former boss at dog salon. It was something in the way she tried to present herself, as if she knew better than everyone else. Okay, well, have you considered the cost of fixing up a house like this? Just coming up the drive, I could see the few dead trees in the side yard and the loose shingles on the roof. And I know for a fact that June had issues with the plumbing on occasion. If it's in such bad shape, it seems a little weird that you want it so badly. Stacey sighed and gave her a shrug. It made Marie think of a parakeet ruffling its feathers. Look, I'll be honest with you. There is a certain charm and appeal to the sort of a Stephen King vibe that this house gives off. I'm sure you already know this. So, yes, as a real estate agent, I see this place and see a nice payday. Not just for coastal gems, but for you as well. If you just jump right now and put it on the market, you're looking at a potential payday of... Look, I'd really rather just not hear about the money so soon, after my great aunt's wake. And besides, I'm thinking about maybe keeping it and converting it into a bed and breakfast. Stacey's eyes got wide, and when she spoke again, it was with the same staged enthusiasm my grandmother might use while speaking to a small girl, just before magically pulling a quarter out of her ear. That's quite an undertaking, Stacey said. The smile on her face made Marie think she found an idea ridiculous. The laugh that came slipping out of that smile made her think Stacey saw her as stupid. Of course sort she usually associated with a dog that needs to get outside to use the bathroom. She asked, "You okay, boy? You need to get out or something?" She was interrupted by a subtle creaking noise, and then another. It came from upstairs and sounded an awful lot like footsteps. "Do you hear that?" she asked Boo. She hoped he would give her a stare of indifference that would set her mind at ease, tell her that she was only hearing things. But his head was tilted and his ear was cocked up. He remained agitated about something. Yes, he'd heard it too. Marie could not decide if this made her feel better or worse. "Think we should go and check it out." Boo was already headed for the sitting room and the stairway beyond. He seemed excited about whatever they had heard. "Yeah, fine, you lead the way." Marie and Boo slowly walked upstairs and found nothing. No ghosts, no phantoms, not even cold spots or draughts. In fact, there was not a single unsettled feeling as they explored. It made her wonder if she and Boo had both overreacted to what they had heard. The house was, after all, old. It likely made all sorts of creaking and settling noises. Marie recalled June once telling her that even if her house was haunted, there were pleasant ghosts. "I wake up happy and bright every morning," June had told her. "If the ghosts are responsible for that, I'm happy to have them living here." It was a fine memory, but Marie could not say such a thing. "This is a little weird, huh?" she asked Boo. He wagged his tail a bit, but was still looking around. Marie had no idea what this meant, and though she wasn't really scared, she suddenly wanted to get out of here. "Why don't we go for a walk?" As was the case with most even partially trained dogs, the mention of a walk caught Boo's attention. He instantly started for the stairs and headed down them. She found him at the front door, nosing in a little decorative bin under the foyer table. She found a leash inside and affixed it to his collar. "Want to lead me around town, boy?" And as it turned out, he did. Right, chapter 8. As she walked into town, Boo leading her like a proud god of some kind, Marie started to think about the cute boy who once worked journeying of the ocean in the distance was like magic. While many of the stores and sights were not familiar, they seemed to promise something bright and exciting. The candy store she passed by smelled like peppermint and fudge, without her even having a step inside. One of the many beach gift shops had a display window filled with boogie boards, beach towels, t-shirts, and variety of sandals. There was even a small art gallery that seemed to specialize in artworks composed of only sand, beach glass, and seashells. It was literally like walking through a small town in a feel-good family TV show. This may very well be my life from now on, she thought. Even if she didn't settle in on B&B idea, the house was hers. She could live here if she wanted, find a job, and make Port Bliss her home. As she continued walking, she passed by Coastal Treasures. It was the only beach shop she could remember the town having when she had been younger. It was nice to see it still thriving among the newer and more modern shops. Passing by ice cream, Bruce ice cream, she nearly went inside to get a cone, but she had her heart set on Red Reef Diner. As she passed by the Lamplighter restaurant, she could see some of the staff setting up the patio furniture on the raised patio, getting ready for the diner crowd. Or shall I say the dinner crowd? It was then, as she passed by Lamplighter, that it all came back to her. She suddenly knew the way to the Red Reef Diner. It was as if she had known all along. She was suddenly beaming and walking quickly down Main Street. Boo had to trot a bit at her side just to keep up. It only took 2 blocks before she spied a street that branched off to the right, going gradually downhill. In an eerie fashion, the name of the diner appeared on the left, drawn out and faded in scratched letters in a huge picture window. The Red Reef Diner. She nearly walked right inside the place when she remembered she had a dog with her. I don't suppose you have appropriate table manners, do you? Boo sat down in front of the door, looking up at her for a while and then sniffing the ground. Sorry, no doggies allowed. Still, she peered inside. The urge to have some of that hot chocolate made her feel like a kid again. For now, looking through the door and seeing the familiar place was enough. The sights of familiar businesses and streets see that boy now. Robbie Dune had grown up well. He had a hard jaw, a hard set jaw, and thin smiling lips. His brown eyes glowed as he looked at her, and while he had been somewhat pudgy as a child, he was now almost 6 feet tall and looked to be rather fit. Robbie beamed. "How are you?" Then with a huge frown he added, "Oh, dumb question, given why I assume you are in town." "I'm okay." She noted that he was still standing in the doorway, not choosing to come out and see her. "And you?" "Good, but busy. Slammed actually. How long are you in town?" "A while. Funny story actually." "Good, I'd love to catch up, but really I can't right now," he said, hitching her thumb back inside the diner. She was a little pleased to see that he showed some genuine disappointment in this. "Some other time then," she said. "That would be lovely." He waved at her, almost apologetically. The smile on his face was huge. She could not remember the last time someone had been so happy to see her. "I'll hold you to that." And with that, just as quickly as he had reappeared in her life, Robbie June was gone again. It took her a while to get back on her wits. When she did, she looked down to Boo and said, "So that was awkward, alright?" Boo had nothing to say on the matter. If anything, he looked a little embarrassed for her. "Oh, what do you know?" she said with a laughter. With that, they headed back toward Main Street, and she had been practically already tasting cappuccino crunch from Bruce's ice cream parlor. But before she made it to that far, she realized that she was passing by the auto carriage she remembered from her youth. She smiled, thinking of that cute boy and how insanely cute she thought he was. As it turned out, life had presented a rather straight and narrow path for that cute boy at the auto carriage. As she passed by it, Marie spotted him right away. His face was recognizable, but it was filled with some padding now. There were other things that were filled as well, namely his stomach, face, and beard. As Marie passed by, she watched them fitting a tire on a slightly lifted truck. A rodent beer belly dropped over his waist, and his beard looked like something birds might nest down in during the winter. Marie quickly lowered her head and followed Boo deeper into town without a single look back. Something caught her eye in one of the shop windows along Main Street. It wasn't an actual item, but a name and a script. That name was written in along the center of the window. Marie wondered how she had ever forgotten about this particular store. She had only been inside twice, but had been enamored with it as a child. On a second thought, collectibles had a touch of that gothic feel that Andrew's house possessed. Just a look through the hazy shop window revealed a dimly lit interior, filled with shelves and cases lined with an assortment of different objects. Even from the street, Marie could see the place hadn't changed at all. She saw an old typewriter, a child's wagon, a strange monkey statue, a potted ukulele, and an elaborate pen set in the window. And then she saw a sign in the corner that said, "Fur babies welcome." She could not go in. She wasn't sure why she had been inside during her childhood. Probably says as she and Boo walk through the front door. With the lighting and the smell of dust and candle burning somewhere, it was almost like she stepped into some old-time apothecary rather than a small-town shop. "Can I help you, dear?" came a cheerful but clearly older voice from the left. She turned and saw a woman she vaguely remembered. It was the same bride as she remembered from her youth, only about 30 years older. Marie said, while just looking, "I'm sort of visiting. You were June's niece, right?" "Yes, she was my grand aunt." The woman nodded. "I spied you at the funeral. You came in here when you were a girl, I think. With your mother and June. My name is Adelia Clark, by the way." "Good to meet you. My name is Marie. And yes, that's why I'm here, just taking in the familiar sights. Sadly, there aren't too many left. Some blame Amazon, but not me. I just think towns change, just like the people." She sighed sadly, and then the smile returned. "So, how long will you be in town?" "Looks like it might be a while, actually." And then, because the shop was so comforting, and she was practically bursting with the idea, she let the rest slip out. "I might be turning June's house into a bed and breakfast." It felt good to tell someone about it. It made it more real. It also helped that hearing herself say it did not sound ridiculous. Adelia exclaimed, "What a wonderful idea!" "Oh, and it will make such a strange and unique place to stay." "I thought so too." Marie let out a sigh and looked at Adelia with a peculiar expression. "Sorry, that was weird, but I haven't actually told anyone the plans yet. I mentioned it to a real estate agent, but I think she thought it was a dumb idea." "Well, I think it's brilliant. Thanks. As I get started trying to figure out how to make it happen, I may call on you just so I can keep hearing that." Oh, there's my cat again. "Oh, here you go, my boy. Here you go." "You know," Adelia said, "running a little shop like this one, I tend to know just about everyone in town. I can recommend some great contractors. In fact, I know one rather personally. I doubt this gentleman would charge for an estimate. Maybe he could come out and look the place over and make some suggestions." "Oh, I appreciate that, but I don't want to be the woman who suddenly pops up in town and starts asking favors of everyone." "You didn't ask," Adelia said with a wink. "I volunteered it, and Port Bliss is still small enough to where every business wants to see every new business succeed. Trust me, dear. So, you want me to make the call?" Right at this point, I think I'm gonna start reading, but no whispering. So let's give it a go, eh? So, chapter 9. The following morning, Marie stood on the patio, looking out to the sea and gripping her cell phone. There was a call she needed to make, but she was not ready for it. So far, this journey had been about looking to her dreams and putting plans into place. There was excitement to it, a sense of accomplishment. and the knowledge that she was taking a chance and it might just pay off. But the call she was about to make, while necessary, was the opposite of that. It was a call that would tear things down and close old familiar doors. And once she made the call, there would be no going back. It was 8:35 when she placed the call back to Providence, as she watched an elderly couple stroll down the beach hand in hand. The weather was still a bit chilly for many tourists to show up. Late April was rather cold in the mornings, especially in this part of the state. So a few scant locals would be the only ones braving the beach. The phone rang 3 times before a cheaper-sounding lady answered it. Brown Brothers Realty, how can we help? And just like that, Marie took the first big step in leaving her life in Providence behind. She thought it would be scary, but it was more exciting than anything. She needed to find someone to rent her apartment, since her lease wasn't up, but the woman from Brown Brothers told her that thanks to the waiting list of people wanting to get into her building, there would be no problem. Then there was the issue of moving all of her stuff to Port Bliss. But the same helpful woman lined her up with a reputable moving company that could have her things get into within 3 days. She did the math and realized that the security deposit she would get back from the apartment would cover almost the entire cost of the moving crew. It truly did seem like all things were lining up in her favor. Wanting to strike while the iron was apparently hot, Marie got her to her feet and gulped down the last of her coffee she had brewed in June's old yet reliable coffee maker. She did so with a little bounce of energy and excitement. Perhaps it was simply because she felt so well rested. Her first night in Aunt June's manor had been uneventful. No ghosts, no rattling of chains, no evidence of the rumors that had once circled the place. Of course, she had been expecting nothing anyway. She had slept here at least 12 times as a girl. I had never felt scared or threatened. She walked back into the sitting room. It was easily her favorite room in the house. Aunt June's big armchair sat by the front wall, to the right of the window that looked out onto the front yard. The grape-colored curtains were drawn, giving the room a purple glow. She walked to the center of the room and sat down on a large oriental rug. Boo came over and sat down beside her. She looked at the empty armchair and gave the smallest of whines. "Yeah, she's gonna be missed," Marie said. She reached out and softly scratched the back of Boo's head. "What do you think, Boo? Should I do it?" Boo gave a lazy wag of his tail, his eyes still in the armchair. She glanced around the empty room, and then, slowly, her eyes drifted to the empty armchair and she said, "Yeah, let's do it." She immediately did a thorough walkthrough, taking notes on her phone about all the things she wanted to change in order to make it more accommodating for a bed and breakfast. She checked the hallways first, then the bedrooms and the bathrooms. In her notes, she typed in new upstairs bathroom sink, maybe new tile, definitely new shower. In her look-over, she was surprised to find that, to her untrained eyes, the interior may not require much work at all. There was the potential for 4 different bedrooms, 3 upstairs and 1 downstairs. She would have to take the small game room downstairs, but that was fine with her. In one of the upstairs closets, she was amazed to find an actual dumbwaiter. It moved a little shakily, but it was fully operational. As it trailed up and down through the walls, the sound it made reminded her of whale songs. It also made her wonder what other secrets the house might hold. As she was playing with the dumbwaiter, she heard the sound of a vehicle crunching on the gravel at the top of the driveway. Boo's head perked up and he went bounding down the stairs, giving off a series of excited barks. Marie followed him down and opened the front door just in time to see a man walking up the sidewalk. He looked to be in his late 50s and had the look of a man who had worked hard his whole life. He wore a New England Patriots hat, which he politely removed when he introduced himself. "Hello, I'm Scott Bunch," he said, extending his hand. "Adelia Clark told me you were taking the place over and thinking of sprucing it up." She wasn't sure which she was more taken aback by. That things were moving so fast, or Scott's thin, quite thick northern accent. The word over came out sounding like over. "She was right," Marie said, giving the offered hand a shake. "I'm Marie, by the way." "Is now a good time for me to look around?" "Sure. I'm just now familiarizing myself with the place myself. But don't mind me, have a look around." Scott nodded and came in. "I was sad to hear about your aunt. Such a fantastic woman. She was a monster at rummy. You ever play her?" I can't say I did." Scott nodded and then, as if remembering why he was here, excused himself and started to look around. He moved in a stop-and-go fashion, stopping to think of something for a moment and then moving quickly, as if someone was operating him with a remote control. Marie stood for a moment at the bottom of the stairway, letting the moment sink in. This was step 1. Sure, there were many more to come, and the childhood dream was not yet set in stone, but the first step had been made. She tried digesting this as Scott Bunch looked the place over. When his inspection was complete, they met out on the patio. Scott had taken notes the old-school way. A small pad he kept in the breast pocket of his work shirt, and a pen. She was a bit relieved to see that he hadn't written much. "So what do you want to see changed?" Scott asked Marie. Just some touch-ups here and there. I want to keep the Gothic feel, and I want to stay true to the way Aunt June has it, but I also want it to be cozy and safe." "I think you can do it pretty easily," Scott replied. "The place sort of sells itself. There are some cosmetic things I would touch up, but that wouldn't cost too much. And there is some painting that needs to be done. But if you're looking to cut costs, I guess that's something you could do yourself." "I sort of sense there is a but coming." Scott shrugged. "Nope. The list of big ticket, big cost stuff is short. And replace the stair rail and spindles. The large upstairs bathroom is going to need a new toilet, and there is a faulty pipe somewhere. You might want new windows in the kitchen and the bedrooms, and a few floorboards in the upstairs hallway should be replaced because they creak like crazy. I thought he said there wasn't much, Marie thought. But he wasn't done. In fact, he kept going. He was expelling it all out of his body in one huge breath, one costly thing after another. And I would suggest a storage freezer and a new fridge, because the one you have now is small and about 15 years old. And then there are some things outside, small stuff. You could maybe handle it on your own. There is a big old rose bush on the left side of the yard that you could do something special with. Maybe a few spindles or something. Lastly, the little wooden walkway connecting the backyard to the beach needs to be redone. It looks rustic and cute right now, but it's sort of a death trap. Any idea how much you could do all that stuff for? Scott tore a piece of paper out of his notepad, folded it, and handed it to her. This is everything I just listed off except for painting. I even included the costs of the fridge and freezer in there, because I know a guy that can hook you up really well. Marie slowly unfolded the paper. The numbers she saw were smaller than she had expected, but still a little too big to be considered comfortable. She took a moment to sit on the number before speaking. And how long do you think it might take? Oh, this is easy. I can have it knocked out in 2 weeks. Plenty of time before you plan to open. Marie looked at the number and compared it to what was in her savings account. She also very briefly tried to think of how much money she would get from selling the place. It was tempting, but also felt very wrong. Besides, Scott's excitement was hard to ignore. He was a very sober type of a man. But when he got excited about something, he spoke louder and his eyes opened wider, like he was wired on about 3 pots of coffee. I should also add that the estimate is free. You may find some in town that will give free estimates too, but I challenge you to find another guy that will go any less than what I'm offering. I do need to ask though. Yes, what is it? You seen any ghosts? Oh, you're funny, she said with a laugh. Scott, though, didn't seem to understand why she was laughing. I guess you know the rumors too then. Oh yeah, and I don't know if they are rumors. The way people talk about it, I think it's real. I heard sometimes people could see ghosts out on the front lawn. And June herself used to tell everyone she could hear footsteps in the house all night. Well, Aunt June was full of stories. So, what are you doing with the place? Just flipping it to sell? No, I was thinking of turning it into a bed and breakfast. A haunted bed and breakfast? I sincerely doubt it's haunted. Scott nodded and made a noise. It was just enough to cast yet another seed of doubt in her head. Aside from Adelia, was she the only one who thought that this was a good idea? For a town that seemed to encourage new small businesses, some people sure seemed to have negative opinions about her plans. Scott seemed to sense that if he kept going this route, he was going to lose a potential job. Anyway, he said, as if erased in the past 30 seconds or so, there is this big green lump down on the far right side of the property. Any idea what that is? Green lump? Marie asked, walking to the edge of the patio. She looked at the wooden edge of the yard and she could barely make out the lump in question. In the shadows of the trees, it honestly looked like a random tangle of briars, weeds, and overgrowth? No idea. When it was clear that Scott had nothing further to say on the subject, Marie, a little annoyed that the man she was likely to go and hire as a contractor didn't seem to care what the lamp was, headed down the patio stairs to find out. Right, so it's been 3 chapters, and I think we're about to finish because it's like 50 minutes or so I've been reading to you, my sweet. So I'm gonna let you go so you can have your rest, and I'm gonna make another video right now for you for whenever you want to read a few more chapters with me.